and welcome back to the studio. And thank you for joining me for another episode of Throwback Thursday. And let me just get my video showing here on my laptop so I can see that everything is good to go. Everything's straight. We got plenty of light because we got to see what we're doing, right? Those important things that I like to have in place when I do my videos. So, hello everybody. Excuse me. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Throwback Thursday. So, I am going to admit I am a little bit late in getting this video up. It's been a crazy week and it's pretty late at night. Technically, it is Friday because it's after midnight here, but I'm going to get this done and I'm going to get this posted for you because then I have to like work on what I am going to be using tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time for my Friday Night Live. Now, stay tuned. There could be a possibility that I may start it a little bit early, maybe 30 minutes to an hour earlier, because we're supposed to be getting some scattered thunderstorms here. So I always like to be weather aware when we get any severe weather. I don't know how if it's really going to get severe, but I like to be aware of what's kind of going on. So if I do decide to go early, I will post something here on my YouTube channel to let you know that I will be doing that. So I hope that you will be able to join me for that. I do a card giveaway for those three projects that I create that night. So today, this Throwback Thursday, we're gonna kind of focus on Father's Day and masculine cards. The bundle that we are going to be using is the Bistro Burger bundle. I got this. Let's see. I think when when that annual catalog came out last year, this was one of the bundles that were in that catalog, and I think I had purchased this when they had that bundle sale, and I think I not 100% sure, but I think this was the one where if you bought one, did you get one at 50% off, or they were 30% off? I don't know, but I know it was an additional amount on top of the 10% that they give you on the bundle pricing. So this was one of those bundles I bought, and sadly, this is the first time that I am using it. Now, this is currently on the last chance list, and at the time that I am filming this, which is, oh, yeah, now it's like it's 1 o'clock here, Central Standard Time, on technically now June 13th. This is still, both of these are still available in the online store. Now there's a light on there. My light glares on there. Let me bring this up really, really quick to see what kind of special they may have on this. Okay, so the regular price for this bundle, it's 10% off, is 45.75. Okay, but currently the set of dies, these were originally $28, and these are actually marked down to 14. And then the Bistro Burger stamp set, that was $23, and it's marked down to $16.10. So this is amounts here in the United States. So if this is a bundle that you would like to get, let me suggest that you purchase these separately. Don't purchase it as the bundle because you will be saving a considerable amount if you purchase them individually. Looking at this, what would that be? 10, 20. So $30.10 as opposed to 45.75 if you get it as a bundle. So again, at the time that I am filming this, and I will post it, it's still currently in the online store. There is a link for these down in the description of the video. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have the link to the stamp set and then the link for the dies. I will not include the link for the bundle. So then that way, if this is something that you want, then you're going to get that better price with purchasing these separately. Now, the thing is with Last Chance, it is while supplies last. And right now, I'm not seeing that anything regarding this is on low inventory, but that can easily change like in a matter of moments. So just want to let you know if this is a bundle that after you see the projects that I make for you in this video, if you want to get it, you'll be able to still get your hands on it, okay? All right, so we're going to be doing some coloring here with our Stampin' Blends. And so let's get started on this because we've already been a little bit here, and one of my goals is I gotta really get my videos, the time on them cut down. Like for example, my Friday night lives, most times I tend to end up going about 2 hours. And the people that are my normal followers on my Friday night lives, they enjoy the time together, you know, chit chatting and all that. But I do need to like get it cut down because what happens on a Friday is that my assistant, Yvonne, she comes over and basically we don't eat dinner until after I'm done. And when I go like 2 hours, that's like 9 p.m. and that's kind of late to be eating. So I do need to cut them down a little bit shorter, but still include everything and not really rush where I would mess things up because I like things straight. I like things put on straight if it's supposed to be straight. All of that stuff. So, and plus I know a lot of people. They may watch the video, and I got everything in the description, like the dimensions of all the pieces and everything. And a lot of times people like to follow along and create along with me. So I'm one that I go, I don't want to say that I go really fast, but then I don't go extremely slow either. So I go at a nice steady pace. Okay, so for my card base on this first card, I have basic black. This measures 8.5 by 5.5. I scored it at 4.25. I have a piece of real red. This measures 4 5/8 by 3 3/8. I have a piece of basic white. This measures, what does this measure? 4.5 by 3 1/4. And what I did ahead of time, I embossed it using the Plaster Painting 3D embossing folder. I believe this is part of an online exclusive. I think it's the Mixed Florals Media Suite that I think that this is part of. Now, this is one of our larger embossing folders, and it is 3D, so you get this really, really deep impression on your cardstock. So I have embossed that ahead of time. So we have a little, texture going on behind our pieces. Then, since our card base is basic black, I do have another piece of basic white. This measures 5 1/4 by 4. We will stamp a little greeting on here and put it inside our card. Then out of some scrap basic white, I have stamped this burger using early espresso ink. Then I have these fries. This was stamped using wild wheat ink. Then we have a pickle that was stamped using old olive. And then out of a scrap piece of pecan pie, there is this cutting board. And then there's this piece here for a knife that I have die cut. And then the knife part here that will attach that handle on, this was die cut out of some silver foil. And one of the things that I will mention, so on the burger, when you stamp it and you go to die cut it, it does cut this slit right here. So there is like a pick that's in with the die, so you can put a pick in the top of your bun if you want, which is what I'm doing on the second project. But this one, what you can do is you can actually take the knife and you can put that like right there in the top of, your burger. So let's take our pieces, bits and pieces here, and we'll fold and burnish our card base. So tomorrow, so between my Throwback Thursday and my Friday Night Live, I am kind of sticking with a Father's Day theme since on Sunday it will be Father's Day. And so tomorrow night I will be featuring the Trusty Tools bundle. Now, this came out a couple of years ago and it has carried over. I think it's in the catalog. If it's not in the catalog, it's part of the online exclusives, but either way, it's still available. I'm going to be using this tomorrow. And in addition, if you're familiar with Stampin' Up, a couple of years ago, when we had Celebration, they had some designer series paper that coordinated with this bundle. And even though it's not available anymore, I will be using it on these projects. Unfortunately, this is another bundle that I purchased it, but I have not put any ink to this stamp set yet. So tomorrow is going to be, well, technically, tomorrow is going to be the first time that I'm actually using that bundle. And that's pretty sad. I'm getting the one nice thing about doing these Throwback Thursday videos and doing the Friday Night Lives is that I'm actually using the products. And when it comes to, if it has designer series paper, I'm also using the designer series paper as well. I've spent so much time like basically hoarding my designer series paper, and I have a whole lot of it. And so it's time to start using it because, Stampin' Up, yes, some papers they retire, some they make now lately, some of them have been carrying over every once in a while. And then we end up with a whole bunch of new stuff. So, yeah, it's time to start using the paper and the embellishments and, all that stuff because over time, you get more and it just all piles up and then you kind of start to run out of room. And then if you move, you got to move all that stuff. And I can tell you that when I moved here a couple of years ago, most of the boxes I had were basically crafting related stuff. And so yeah, these are things that they need to be used, not just bought and then put on display, right? Okay. So this is the inside of my card. And one of the stamps that's in here, there is one that says Happy Father's Day. We have another one that says You're kind of a big deal, time to celebrate, and here's to a great guy. So this Happy Father's Day. I'm going to ink this up in my Real Red ink. And then I'm going to stamp this, try and get this straight. And I'm going to stamp that right here inside my card, like so. Okay, we'll close that up. And we'll set this aside. Real Red is one of those colors that it does take just a little bit to dry. So I'm going to just set that aside so our ink doesn't smear on us. And then I'm going to do, let's see, we'll take our embossed piece here. And for this, I'll bring in my liquid glue and we'll adhere this to our piece of Real Red. And then actually what I can do is I can take this and put this on my card base as well. So let's take this now. When I had embossed it, it does shrink it just a little bit. So you may find that your the two sides have a little bit more red showing than the top and the bottom, but not too much. Okay, and then I'll bring in my seal and we'll add some adhesive to the back of this. Bring in our card base and then I'll center this so we got a bit of a bigger border right there where our focal point is. Now, one of the other things that I'm going to put on here as well, so we have this cutting board, so there are some slits that are in here, so you can put like some things like right into it if you wanted to, but we're just going to place our images on top of it. So let me get the glue out of the way. And I'll add some seal to this. Okay, and then we will take this and we will line this up right there at the base of our basic white. So you see that Real Red border showing on the bottom of it. Okay, so we'll set that aside. And then we got some coloring to do. What I'll do ahead of time, I'm going to bring in my silicone craft sheet and get my glue again. And for this, I'm going to add just a couple of drops, you know, like little drops. You don't need much because you don't want this oozing out. And then I'm going to place this right over our knife like so. Okay, a little bit of glue came off of the back there. Okay, so then we're going to take this and we're going to set that aside. We're going to let that glue dry. And then in the meantime, we are going to then bring in our Stampin' Blends and we're going to be doing some coloring on our food here. Okay, so for my pickle, I had stamped that in Old Olive ink. So what I'm going to bring in is my light Old Olive Stampin' Blend. And we're going to color this in. Okay, and I'm only coloring it with the light. I'm not bringing in the dark because if I bring in the dark, then you won't see any of that detail in in that stamped image. Okay, and then for the fries, I'm going to bring in, this is one of the natural, so this is part of the medium light combo pack. When these first came out, they actually had numbers, so this one is number 800, and I am going to use this to color in my fries. In the description, I do have a few links, a couple things that's currently going on. Right now, Stampin' Up! Has a suite sale going on, so whether it's a full complete suite or if it's any component that's part of a suite, they have the sale is you buy one and then you get another at 50%. So if you were buying a full suite, you would pay the price of the higher, and then the lower priced one you would get that at 50% off. It's the same thing, any products, whether there's like say an embossing folder or some embellishments or ribbon, what else is in there? Like the designer series paper. If it's part of a suite, it's part of that buy one, get one 50% off sale. Now, I will mention that if you were to get, say, two suites and then, say, a package of designer series paper and a thing of embellishments, your 50% off items are going to be the lower price, so it would be the designer series paper and the embellishments. If you wanted to wear the second suite would be 50% off, then you would want to do two separate orders. So then that way you can get that better discount on the suite products. Sometimes the suites may say that they are currently unavailable. When it says that, that's only because there's one of the components or maybe two that's part of the suite may be on back order. But the other remaining items in that suite would still be available. Now, what's nice about it is that bundles, for example, if there's a bundle that's in the suite, and typically there is, uh, if you just wanted the bundles are going to be based off that 10% bundle discount. So if you buy one and get one of those, you'll pay whatever the higher priced one is, and again with the 10% off. And then the second one, even with its 10% off, it'll be 50% off on that as well. So you kind of get an extra little deal there when you do the bundles, kind of adding those two discounts on there. So if you have any questions at all regarding how that whole sale works and how you would place the order so then you can really maximize the discount on those suites, feel free to reach out. My email is in the description, or you can leave a comment on the video as well. Either way, I will be more than happy to assist you in any way so you can get like a really good deal on your order. Okay, so for this burger, I'm going to use my ivory blend, and I'm going to color this bun, so the top and the bottom. Let's get this bottom one. Okay. Let's kind of fill this in a little bit. Now, in these areas where it's got the shading on there, I'm going to kind of go over that using the bronze marker. The bronze and the ivory are part of the combo pack. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let this ivory dry some, and then I'll go over these little shadow lines with the bronze, and then I'll blend it out a little bit with the ivory. Okay, so then for the pickles on this, I'm going to bring in my light old olive and color those in. When I made these projects, after I got done coloring these burgers, I was in the mood for a burger. Okay, so there's our pickles. And then underneath here we have our 2 slices of tomato. So this is my dark poppy parade. And we'll color that in. We got 2 on here. Okay. And then we have some lettuce on here. So then I have my dark granny apple green. And okay, so go around our tomatoes. Okay. All right, and then we have some on the bottom here as well. Okay, and then there's like this little line that's right under the burger. That's going to be the mayo on our burger, on our cheeseburger. And then this little spot here, and then here, that's going to be our cheese. Yeah, we're not putting mustard on this one because honestly, mustard doesn't belong on a cheeseburger. Just saying. That's one of the things, living in New York, they don't do that. They don't put mustard on cheeseburgers. And then when you always got to remember when you're traveling in through other states and even down here, that if you go to get a cheeseburger, you got to tell them no mustard because it's not right. It doesn't belong. Okay, so for my cheese, I'm going to do the darling, the darling duckling in dark. So we'll get this. And then down here. Now, mayo is good on a cheeseburger. I like mayo on mine. Okay, and then let's see, I'm going to take my bronze here. And so these areas here where the shadows are, just going over these lines that are already there. Not doing anything perfect here. And then we have up here. Okay, and then on our bottom part of our bun. Okay, so we're going to let this dry a bit, and then I will go over with my ivory again to kind of like blend that out a little bit. Okay, so then for my burger, this is part of the Naturals set of Stampin' Blends. So this is the deep, number 100 and 200. So I'm going to take the 200, this one's a little bit lighter, and I'm going to color in the whole burger, and then I'll use the number 100, and I will do those areas that have the shadows on it. And then look at the bottom here. Okay. Okay. Then let's come in with our ivory and kind of blend that a little bit. Okay, and then the bottom part. Okay, and then we'll take the deep 100. And again, the artist on here has already kind of like added these shadow lines here. Hey, does anybody else feel like having a burger now? I haven't had one in a long time. I could go for one. Okay, and then I'll bring in that deep 200 again and just blend this a little bit. Okay, so now we're done with our coloring. I am going to then take my knife here, and again there's this little slit that the die itself cuts when you die cut your image. So I'm going to stick this knife in like so. I want to make sure that I come down low enough with it. Okay, that looks good. And I'll turn it over. And then I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Dimensionals. I got my little ones here. And I find that these are a little easier to put down when I use my Take Your Pick tool. Okay, we'll put this one right here. And then let me see if I got some of my larger ones in here. I do. Okay. So to hold my knife down, I'm going to add one right there. Okay. Okay, so we got that. And we'll remove these paper backings off of here. Okay, and then this will go down right. And let me kind of make sure my card base is straight here. And then this will go right here, like so. Now before I add any more, I'm going to come in with my seal and I'm going to put my insert in. Okay. Put that in there like so. Okay, and now let's add the rest of our stuff on here. So I'm going to add a couple of dimensionals on my fries. And we'll place those. Let's see, I'll put them right there. And then on our pickle, we will add, we'll add 2 dimensionals on this. Okay, and then we'll place our pickle right there. And that is our first card. Let me just quickly close this up. Okay, so there is our first card. Now, don't you just want a burger now? And some fries and a pickle. And then we have our Happy Father's Day greeting inside in real red. Okay, so let me get the stuff for our second card. And this one too, we're going to do some coloring on this one, but we're stepping this up a little bit, just a little bit more. So here's all my pieces. Things are pre-stamped and already die cut ahead of time to save some time. Okay, so for my card base, move that over. My card base is Pecan Pie. It measures 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of Crumb cake. This measures 5 1/4 by 4. And then I have some scraps here. So this here, this image, this is off of Designer Series paper. This is from the Celebratory Sips Designer Series paper. So it's one of the images off of this paper right here. So I die cut this ahead of time. Kind of make it look like it's beer or something, or it could be iced tea. because, you know, with a meal, you got to have something to drink, right? And then out of some real red, I die cut this little banner piece. So this is one of the dies in that set. Let's see. Now this is a little teeny tiny piece here. This is die cut out of pecan pie. So we have like a toothpick here. And let's put that there so we don't lose it. And then out of basic white, I have stamped 2 burgers in the early espresso, 2 things of the fries in early espresso, and then the greeting is also in early espresso. And then I had die cut that out using the nested essentials dies. Okay, so what we're going to do with this, we're actually going to make a double burger. So I stamped, like I said, I stamped 2 of these. We're going to color them in, and then I'm going to fussy cut one of them, removing the top part of the bun, and then we'll put it together and it'll make one double burger. So this is like, you know, extra burger, and then you need extra fries as well. Okay, so we'll fold and burnish this card base. Yeah, so with the coloring, with all the coloring that we're doing on these 2 projects, so this video is going to go just a little bit longer than what other ones would go. Okay, so then on this piece of crumb cake, I'm going to bring in my scrap paper here, and then I'm going to, let me quickly clean this stamp. And you got a stamp laying around with red ink especially. Yeah, that red ink tends to find its way on your projects when you don't want it to. Okay, so I'm going to bring in the stamp with the burger on it. And let me get my block here. And then I'm going to bring in my crumb cake ink. And we're going to randomly stamp our burger on this piece, on this panel here. Okay. And I'm not going to stamp off. I'm going to stamp it full strength. And let's not stick my finger in the ink. Whoops. Well, that'll be covered up, so you won't see that. Okay. All right, so we'll set that aside. And then we will adhere this to our card base. Bring that in, make sure I am still in the camera. Okay, so there is our card base, and our drink is good. We don't have to do anything with that. On my greeting piece here, I'll add a couple of dimensionals to the back of this, and we'll set that aside. And then let's see, our little banner piece here, we'll add a dimensional on there, set that aside. And then now let's do some coloring. We got a lot of coloring here. Okay, where is the cap to this? And for this, I'm going to use the same exact colors that I used to color in the images from the last card. So our fries, again, I'm going to bring in, let's see, let me just bring in all of these, because again, we're using these again. Okay, so we want the ivory. No, the ivory wasn't for that. It was for the bun. So we want the medium light number 800. In my earlier videos that I have done, the Throwback Thursday is a pre-recorded video that, I'll create it and then most times I end up scheduling it, but because this technically should have already been done and posted already, once I do my editing to the description stuff and adding the video thumbnail, all that with the picture of the projects. Yeah, what was I saying? Uh, that yeah, I do it as a live, but I do it as an unlisted live, so nobody knows that I am live doing this. Now, in the past, I used to like record like different bits and pieces. So anything that was tedious, like this part here where I'm doing the coloring, or if there was, any embossing, like what I did on the first card, things that may be fussy cut, that kind of stuff, things that were tedious that would tend to make a video, excuse me, go very long. I would make that as a separate video clip, and I would then, excuse me, then I would speed it up, and I would have the cool music that would go with it. I'd have the opening credits, and now I really like doing that. The reason why I hadn't been doing it in a while is because when I put the video clips together, I do it through Canva, and putting it together, just dragging the video clips into their spot, adding music, that kind of stuff. It doesn't take long to do that at all. The problem I was having was uploading those video clips into Canva. Sometimes, they would upload fairly quickly, and then a lot of times they were kind of like bombing out, and then I would have to redo it again, and it just made the process of doing a video make it so much longer to put together than it needs to be. So I found that if I just do this as an unlisted live, that okay, the video's done. It is what it is. So, any mistakes that, I may have made, or any bloopers, when you're recording and you forget words and things like that. Yeah, I just leave it in there, and it is what it is. And at the end, I just add all of that description stuff and the picture and all that for the thumbnail. And I can either schedule the video to post, when the time comes, or, like in this case, just go and make it public after I am all done. Okay, so the fries are done. Yeah, so it's just basically saving time by doing it that way. Now, at some point, if I can figure out how to, add the music, after the fact, it's a matter of me making the time to figure that all out. Okay, so on these burgers, on one of them, I'm going to color the top, and on the other one I'm going to do the bottom. So I'm not going to color both of the tops. then we'll do the bottom of this one. Okay. And then we'll let that dry before I add the bronze on top of that. Okay, so the light old olive again for these pickles. And we'll do it on this one too. Okay. And then we have, let's go ahead and do our cheese. So we'll do right here. And then right here. And we'll do it on this one. Okay. And then we have our dark poppy parade for our tomatoes. And then this one. So I'm really hoping that those projects that are for tomorrow night. So when it comes to like the Throwback Thursdays, I also do a monthly Christmas card inspiration on the first of each month. For those, I typically only do 2 cards. And then on the Friday Night Lives, I do 3 cards. So yeah, I have to actually plan out what it is that I'm going to be making for tomorrow night. So I haven't even done that part yet. And I'm really hoping that those projects are going to just come really quickly and I can get them done and I'm not like, down to the wire at the last minute, getting it all done like 5 minutes before I'm supposed to go live. Now, one like little advantage that I like right now, so when I first started doing the lives, I've only been doing them really on YouTube, and I used to be able to, schedule things, have everything all set up, to go live at 7 p.m. All I would have to do is just hit go live, all that description stuff would be out there, the thumbnail would be out there, and I was all set and all ready to go. And then for some reason, I don't know what was up with YouTube, I wasn't able to schedule. I mean, I was able to schedule. The only problem with that, for a video like this, you need to have the orientation set at horizontal. You don't want it vertical because then you're seeing a much smaller area, whereas, you're seeing more when it's set at horizontal. And I would have it set up as horizontal, but for some reason when I would go live, and this wasn't only happening to me, this was happening to other demonstrators as well, it would change the orientation from horizontal to vertical. And when it would do that, I would basically have to then stop that video and then totally start a whole new one. And it kind of got a bit frustrating, but you know, it came down to where for the longest amount of time I was actually coming on anywhere like 10, 15 minutes before 7, and I would be getting all of that stuff set up. And then I have to remember, okay, what do I do? Where do I have to go? And, you know, because I'll post something on Facebook to say I'm going live. And I will be happy to say that, was it just last? It may have been last Friday was the first time that, okay, I put a post out there. I told everybody, okay, so I'm going to do a test for last Friday's live. I'm going to schedule it, have everything set up on it, you know, thumbnail and everything, and schedule for 7 and see what happens. And if for any weird reason I hit that, you know, go live button and it changes that orientation again, then I would have to stop that live and just totally restart it, a whole new one again. And I will be happy to say that it worked the way it was supposed to work. And yeah, so now I'm able to actually schedule things now. So that's one less thing to worry about just before, you know, you're going live, that you have added all the stuff you need to add and post in areas so people know that I'm going live. Um, if One of the things that I do want to ask that does help me tremendously in not only growing this channel, but also growing my Stampin' Up! Business. These videos, they are a lot of work, but I do get a lot of great feedback from people that, especially when I do my Throwback Thursdays, you know, this is where I pull out my retired stash. And so people like the idea that I do this because, you know, they may have either the stamp set, bundle, or suite, whatever it may be, and it gives them a little, you know, gives them some inspiration to pull it out and play with it again. And of course, for me, like I admitted, sometimes, you know, like for example, this Throwback Thursday is actually the first time that I'm using this bundle. So, so yeah, there's a lot of feedback that comes from that. And so, yeah, so Throwback Thursdays, monthly Christmas card inspiration. Those are like 2 cards that I do. And so what I was, see, I get off track. I mean, I start talking about something, and then it's like, for a moment there, it's like I kind of forget what it is that where I was going with it. But I remember what I was going to say. So if you are new, well, if you're new or you're returning, please hit the thumbs up, the to like the video. And if you like the projects that I'm doing, there are plenty of videos. I think tomorrow's live will mark 250 videos on my channel. Um, and if you subscribe to the channel, click on that little notification bell. And whenever I post a pre-recorded video or when I go live, it will notify you. Um, you know, every bit of that, you know, between the likes and um, the subscribing, the comments, the sharing, all of that stuff really helps. The more interaction, more content that I do, more interaction, when people come onto my channel and watch my videos, it puts, YouTube then takes my videos and puts it out there for some other people that enjoy doing the crafting and all that. And that's how a lot of, as a matter of fact, a lot of the ladies that come on and follow me when I do my Friday Night Lives, a lot of them have found me based on my video, one of my videos popping up in their feed. So all that little bit really does help in growing the channel. And then, of course, it does ultimately help as well in me growing my Stampin' Up! Business. Okay, so we have gotten that. And then we're going to color in both of these burgers. So again, the number 200 is the lighter of the two. And then also, I do have in the description, I do have a monthly newsletter. Typically, I send that out on the first Tuesday of each month. That is when Stampin' Up! Posts. Every month they come out with either 2 or 3 new kits as part of the kits collection. And so in my newsletter, I like to add pictures and descriptions of those new kits. My newsletters also have my video schedule. So when all of the Throwback Thursdays for the month and the Friday Night Lives, I do list either the stamp set, the bundles, or the suites that I am using. So you kind of get a heads up as to what I'm going to be using. In the newsletter too, anything that I may be doing here in the studio, which I will mention that on June 21st at 11:30 a.m., again, that's Central Standard Time, I will be doing a get together here at the studio. And so it is a free event. If you are local to me here in Memphis, uh, there's in that newsletter, there is like a little RSVP button that basically sends me an email to let me know that you would like to come. Um, Also, so anything that I'm doing, and then anything that's Stampin' Up, any specials, like for example, the 50% sweet sale that they got going on, that's in there. Um, what else? Information about the current paper pumpkin. So this last newsletter that I did had the info for the Full of Charm, I think is the name of it. So if you would like to receive my newsletter to know kind of like what I got going on, again, there's a link for that in the description. When you click on that, you're just going to add your name and your email address. And then, then you're on my list and I can send out the newsletter to you. And also, if you're here in the United States and you're not currently working with another demonstrator, meaning ordering from them, and if you would like a paper copy of the current catalog, again, my email is in the description. Just send me an email and include, your mailing address and all that, and I would be more than happy to get one of the new annual catalogs out to you. Let's see, is there anything else? There is a link that will take you to the online store. We have items in our last chance. So these are items that are actually retiring, and then once they're gone, you know, then they're gone. They update that every 2 months, and April, let's see, April, it's now June. So yeah, they just added some more stuff in there. Some items that were still left in there that have been in there for a little bit. If they were marked down or not marked down, some of them have been marked down a little bit lower. Um, so there is a link that'll take you to the online store if you want to check that out. And then there's also a link that will take you to where all the sweets are. If you want to check out all the sweets that are currently available that are part of that sale. And again, if you would like to take advantage of that and you want a little more clarity on exactly how to, you know, put the order together to where you can really get some good savings on the sweets and the products, feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to help you out with that. Okay, so now let's go and take our ivory and let's kind of blend this a little bit. Now, to get really good blending with your alcohol markers, uh, it works better when the ink is still wet, but I elected to let this dry before I added the color on there because I definitely wanted to see, you know, the differences with those shadows. Okay, and then the bottom one of this, and we're about there. Okay, so the coloring is done. Now, I will tell you that, yeah, fussy cutting is not one of those things that is my favorite. I kind of like not like it. But if I'm doing just like one card and that cutting is very, very minimal, okay, then I'm okay with it. But yeah, some people say that they find it very relaxing. I can tell you I do not. After a while, my hand will cramp up from doing all this cutting, and uh, I'm also a lefty as well, and I I've heard that, yeah, it's a little bit different, a little bit easier, I guess. I mean, I could be wrong, for a righty to do this. But because I like to follow Ange McKay, and she loves doing the fussy cutting. And I said, you know, it's like I just don't like the fussy cutting. And you know, we kind of like had this discussion where, you know, she kind of said that yeah, there is definitely a difference if you're doing the cutting, if you're a lefty as opposed to a righty. Like I said, when it's like just little bits, like something like this, okay. One of the things that I did get a few years ago, specifically for, you know, those stamp sets that have images that does not have any dies. So if I wanted to mass produce a card and there were stamped images that did not have dies to it, then I can just cut them out on that. But this one would probably be a little hard to do that. And the reason I say that is because you have like all of these hatched, you know, like shadow lines on it. So it would probably confuse it. and it would just start cutting on all those lines. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, so we have that. All right, so then I'm going to bring in some Scotch tape. This is going to help me kind of get this put together. So let me get my silicone craft sheet, and I'm going to take the bottom part, and I'm going to take a little bit of Scotch tape, and I'm going to put that on there like so. This is going to help me kind of put these two pieces together. And then I will pop this up using dimensionals, and I'll cover up like that seam on the back. So I want to get this on here to where you'll be able to see like those pickles and all those toppings. So there is our double-decker burger. Okay, and then this little toothpick here. Now this is going to bend very easily, so I am going to carefully put this through there. Maybe it'll be easier if I do it this way. Because it's very thin, so it's going to bend very, very easily. Okay. So we'll pull this up a little bit. Okay, now let me see on my card here. I don't want to go up too high with it. Okay, I think that'll be good. All right, so then let me get my dimensionals, and I'm going to add one of these to hold. Just to kind of hold this down. Like so. And then over this seam here, where it's taped, I'll add a few more. And we'll add down the bottom here and up near the top. Okay, so now to put this all together. Okay, the drink, I'm going to add some seal to the back of this. We're not going to pop that up. Okay, we'll bring this in. Move this out of the way. All right, so we are going to place this about here. And we'll put our drink right here. Now I'm not going to press anything. I didn't take the backings off of this yet. So then we got our fries here. So for this one, I'm just going to add some seal to the back of this. And we'll put this in front of our glass like so. And then for this one, we'll pop this one up. Okay. And then take this and we'll place this like right down here like so. And then let's get all these backings off the back of our burger. I know that I'm definitely going to be feeling this tomorrow because what time is it? Can't even tell what time it is. I just know it's going to be very, very late. Oh yeah, it's after 2 in the morning. And I have to get up and I gotta work. And then of course, after working, then I got that live to do. So yeah, I'm gonna be pretty pooped out when all is said and done tomorrow. Okay, so we're gonna take our burger. We're gonna place that right there. And then we have our little flag that we'll put on our toothpick here. And we'll just place that like so. And then for our greeting, we'll take that and we'll place that right up there. Okie dokie. So there is our second card. So again, it's a single burger. So here's our first card. And you could, I've seen samples where they easily not only did a double-decker burger, but they also did a triple-decker burger. So yeah, you can put as many burgers on those buns that you want. So so here are the two cards that I have made using the Bistro Burger Bundle. Kind of going with the guy theme, you know, Father's Day coming up this coming Sunday. And so, yeah, I used to do, you know, special holiday videos on top of the Throwback Thursdays and the Friday Night Lives. And I had to cut back somewhere because it was just becoming a little too much. So I've kind of like taken, you know, my Throwback Thursdays and the Friday Night Lives and kind of did the holiday that way. So again, this is a great masculine themed card. I mean, it could also be for females too, you know, those that may really like burgers and fries and all that. So a really great bundle. Kind of, you know, wishing that I had done something with it sooner, but again, you know, I have it, and the important thing is that I used it. Now, the only designer series paper again that I used was cutting out this drink out of the Celebratory Sips designer series paper. Um, and then, okay, tomorrow for my Friday Night Live, I will be using the Trusty Tools bundle. I think this is in the catalog. And I don't think, hold on, I really don't think it's something that is on the last chance. Because if it was, then I wouldn't be doing it for Friday Night Live. Yeah, so it doesn't say last chance on it, so these are definitely still available. So this will be my Friday Night Live. In addition, like I mentioned a couple of years ago during Celebration, they did come out with Trusty Toolbox Designer Series paper. So even though this is retired and you can't order it anymore, I am going to incorporate some of this Designer Series paper in the projects that I do tomorrow night. So again, thank you everyone for stopping by and watching. And if you like the projects that I made, please give the video a thumbs up. Share it if you would like. Also subscribe if you haven't already done so. And then hit that notification bell. It'll notify you whenever I post another pre-recorded video or when I go live. And again, I go live every Friday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. If there's ever an event that, because of the weather, you know, I start a little bit early, especially if we're going to have like severe weather. I like to be weather aware. and especially when it's nighttime. And so that's why I try to get my videos done before the bad weather really happens. So they're not saying anything severe for tomorrow night, but I will be keeping an eye out on it throughout the day. And if it looks like we may get some severe weather, I may start the live a half an hour to an hour earlier. And if I do that, there is a notification that I can post and create on my YouTube channel to let you know that. And then I can also put that in the info when I post the link to the live on my business and my personal Facebook pages. And I think that's it. So everybody, wherever you may be, if you're experiencing any bad weather at all, please be safe. And I hope that you can join me tomorrow night. We always have a lot of fun. And again, the 3 projects that I make, I do a wheel of names and I give away those cards that I've created. And you, to get the card, to be in that drawing for the cards, you can be outside of the United States. I can mail cards, handmade greeting cards out. It's just the Stampin' Up! Product that I cannot. So, again, I hope that you'll be able to join us. And if you can't, there's always the replay. So, everyone, I will see you on the next one. And all have a blessed one. Bye bye.